multiple different teams across the last few weeks about having days off in the middle of the week because, well, LYON canceled scrims on us. So I feel like either, I mean, the more likely is they are trying to take it easy while Inspired is gone, or they're so mental boomed from the practice they just can't
From the undefeated season that they're having.
I mean, Saint did have food poisoning last week. That might have been the cancel, but I heard one this week too, so you never know.
Okay. I ran into Armao before the game started, and I was like, bro, I heard they fired Inspired. You're gonna be starting juggling for a LYON because you're just winning too much. He's like, no, I refuse. I am retired.
I'm going back to school.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, they can't make me. So and Armao's back for another week. We assume this is the last week. I've heard that it is
crazy.
We will find out.
I was talking about this on Mind the Gap, and I was looking at the global contract database, and at the time it was like the 10th, and it said his contract expired on the 9th. I'm like, yeah, he's done. And then right after I post the episode, I read a comment, be like, they just updated it for another week. I'm like, he's in! That's how I got my update that Inspired wasn't coming back.
There you go. That's how Inspired got his update too. Got let go at the same time. You forgot to see that in the global database. Armao, the undefeated king of the LCS, 6-0 so far. In his time subbing in for LYON, you know, we're joking, but also it is very impressive.
He's been solid.
And, you know, it's easy to say in retrospect, oh yeah, well, LYON's laners are so good, they're just going to win anyway. But none of us really, except for Kobe, thought that they were actually going to finish first in the regular season.
Correct.
Because we made our predictions based on Inspired being away. A lot of us thought there would be that MSI hangover, EWC hangover, that they'd be burnt out and that they would struggle. But they have not lost a single game, let alone a series.
That's the crazier part to me, is the fact that they are actually undefeated. But if you look closely at those games, there were some close ones, there were some volatile moments. But I would say that Armao has been an LCS level jungler. It's not like they took a high diamond player, threw him into LYON, and it was totally fine. He has a lot of LCS experience. He's slotted right in. His team fighting has been completely fine, sometimes very good. So I think it's going to be a fun little finish to his LCS career, assuming this is his last series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it is, and he's able to finish off on an 8-0, that is just really cool, right? Like, that's a really cool story to be able to tell. Yeah, still got it. Came back one more time.
All right.
It was a little bit too easy, so decided to go back to school.
Yeah. Not a challenge anymore.
Yeah, it wasn't really a challenge, so. Just going to be taking some casual classes, studying some astrophysics, you know, becoming a rocket scientist.
Armao becomes the rocket scientist after being
looking for more of a challenge, you know?
The Olaf lock-in is interesting. Dhokla has been having probably his best start to a split ever, to be completely honest, with how dominant he's been in laning phase and outside of laning phase. The Cassiopeia is likely mid lane, but is still holding that flex position. Berserker had a really good Cassio game in week 1, but Mage's bot lane, being on this live patch, are mildly nerfed.
Yeah, Olaf has just become so popular. MSI, obviously, it was coming out as kind of a niche counter pick. Then people are like, oh, it's actually pretty good in a lot of these matchups. And then it has gotten to the point that now it's just a blind pick. I'm expecting Jax and Vayne probably be the two bans that they would be looking for potentially here as kind of those protection bans for the Olaf, but
you're not buying into Impact Anivia counterpick, because that's another thing, the top lane Anivia into Olaf.
I mean, I feel like I can see the idea, right?
Yeah.
You can't immune the wall, you know?
You gotta run around it.
You gotta run around it. So I can see it, but I feel like Anivia is gonna struggle, you know, to actually put a lot of pressure on. And then you do have to be able to play, you know, with an additional mage and with one less kind of bruiser or frontliner, which is sometimes I think the thing that teams struggle with more than it is like the piling of champions. It's how they have to play differently in team fights.
Interesting. So they banned the Rumble instead, meaning if Impact wants to play Vayne, one of the preferred counter picks, or the Kled, he's going to be able to.
And I guess maybe they're just saying it's Impact,
talking about the Kled matchup yesterday as well, which is, I think the more Olaf plays against it, the slightly better it becomes for the Olaf, assuming like a Kled one trick was what was piloting it. But Impact's not a known Kled player, so it could be pretty difficult.
And he's not a known Vayne player either, right? So it may be more of a nod towards the player. They're like, you do play Jax, you do play Rumble. I don't believe you're going to play Kled. I don't believe you're going to play Vayne. So we'll just leave those open. He did play Varus top, which was a disaster game that ended in a win, if you do remember, where he just Shane died on repeat 100 times and then won the game. So there is always the possibility that he could go towards a ranged top laner, but when you think of Impact, you definitely do not expect him to be playing something like that into the Olaf.
LYON also takes the Shen for Isles, most likely. Just knowing Impact, maybe he would have had some random Shen tech that works into it, but that is another denial pick. So it's pseudo-ban into Sentinels just because of Impact's proficiency on it. Now we're going to find out, what does Impact take?
I bet he just takes like Renekton or something.
It's
like
the Anivia
something
counterpick. He's doing the Anivia.
But it could be going mid, because Anivia is also good in
DARKWINGS
Cassio.
is a really good Anivia.
I'm
Never
just
mind.
thinking it's the most boring possible pick, so it is Renekton.
And they'll
That's
still
my
have the
prediction.
team fight Anivia wall tech if they just let DARKWINGS play it.
But it could be. It could be the
Could be.
Impact Anivia top. We have to wait and find out what this final pick is going to be, and that will probably give us the answer. But I feel like usually in these kind of matchups, Impact does just go the most standard thing and then just kind of plays towards the matchup. But it is going to be the Kled, so very exciting. Going to be seeing the Impact Kled. I am a little bit dubious on if Impact plays crazy enough to really make Kled work, because Kled is a champion that you have to fight your way out of every difficult situation.
Yep.
It is not a champion that plays well from behind. It is not a champion with utility. You have to fight. You have to see the all-in angles, and that's kind of how this champion works. 5
career games on the Kled for Impact on stage. So more than I would have actually expected. 60%.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. You win 60% of your games every time, you win Worlds.
There you go. That's true.
That would be true. If all you ever do is win very consistently 60% of games, you'd always win Worlds.
If in every series.
Correct. You can never fall below it.
Because if you start in play-ins, you could win all your games and then just, you know, lose really quickly in the group stage. You still have 60% win rate.
Yeah. But
if you win 60% of the games in every series,
then you win Worlds.
Then you win Worlds.
Yes.
There you go. So that's there you have it.
We found
officially a Kled worthy of winning Worlds. Exactly. Based on the stats, we have proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that Impact is a Worlds winning Kled.
But I think beyond,
unless he loses in that case.
Beyond his 60, then he's back to 50%.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, crash.
Yeah.
Beyond having to play super aggressive, you really just have to know all your limits. I liked your skill point check when you're not skilling up the W in lane, holding it, so when you dismount, you can instantly remount.
It is a really, really big deal in a lot of...
Like, if you, at 7 minutes, you're already level 6. Like, that's a long...
He's ready to go.
He's ready for a couple full clears. Plus second crab. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Maybe he already got second grab.
Thank goodness we were starting this game.
All right, we're getting into game here. LYON versus Sentinels. Believe it or not, it's game 1.
Crazy.
We're still here. And it is going to be Impact's Kled coming out here. He is playing Ignite plus the Flash, and Dhokla is playing Flash Ghost. So no one going in towards the exhaust, but you can see already supports roaming up towards that top side, knowing this is going to be spicy. Huhi does get that lane ward, and it's a Pixel Brush ward here for Miles. So both supports have gone top and dropped down a ward.
Just additional safety, especially with the Jarvan in the game. There's always that cheese potential if Armao wanted to completely sell out for the top lane, but...
And we didn't even really talk about it, but obviously Berserker did end up taking the Cassio bot, and then they moved, you know, Saint here mid on the Syndra. I was kind of initially expecting the opposite, but then when Anivia comes through, this makes a lot of sense because it is obviously an easier matchup for Syndra. Yeah,
I think that's a really good call. We've also seen a little bit of a rise of Syndra in LCK specifically. Chovy playing it last night. Interesting point, though, with Armao, now that he is really ready to play, junglers who have started the split 8-0. Here's the complete list. If Armao wins the next 2 games, he would join this list of Inspired, Blabber, Reignover, and Saint Vicious. And I think the more important thing, though, if he really wants to be greatest of all time, is he wins these next 2 and then just goes off into the sunset. He would be the only one to start 8-0 and then end the split undefeated.
There you go.
Everyone else went on to lose a later game. Armao would not.
Except for Armao. Went out on top. That's how he'll be remembered.
Yep.
The greatest jungler of all time. It'll be the biggest what if, you know?
What if Armao
what if Armao stayed? Yep. And they didn't have to play with that Inspired guy. Would they have won Worlds?
Inspired has never had 100% win rate in a split. Armao does right now.
Does so far. We'll see if he does in 30 minutes or so.
Well.
As DARKWINGS trading pretty heavily here with Saint, but all jokes aside, of course, Inspired going to be back pretty soon. And it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I do think because the break has gone on quite a long time, there is the question, unironically, like obviously Inspired is the better player, but there is the question, will they perform better with Inspired right when he comes back? Because he's going to be returning, presumably, for Week 6 in Mexico for LYON home grounds, and they're going to have some really hard matches, including playing against TL, and he will basically have missed the entire split.
I completely agree. I was fully on board, and we don't know exactly why he's missing. Maybe it's completely out of our control, or out of his control, but if you're planning a break, I'm actually totally fine, you know, with MSI into EWC taking the first 2 weeks off of a split. Anything beyond that, and I start feeling like you can really start generating some rust, is going to take a long time to de-rust, and it's going to end up being an additional 5 weeks where his team has been playing on stage and he hasn't. That's a long time to start forming new habits that then have to be, you know, reacclimated once Inspired returns. So definitely a real concern for LYON in a weird way with how long he's been gone.
Yeah, it definitely can be. It's also, I always kind of think about, you know, when your shot caller leaves and you have someone else coming in, then they are taking on new responsibilities that then they have to kind of give up. This is Saint, though. He has been performing incredibly well this split. I think that it is fair to say him and Quid are the clear top 2 mid laners right now. And they are going to be facing off in week 6, so not next week. They will have a bye to facilitate the extra games that they're going to be playing in Mexico at the LYON home ground. So that is really, I think, the match that everyone has circled to find out who is truly at the top of the LCS now.
Common egg. Nice common egg there by Saint. On to DARKWINGS. Will be vulnerable for a return gank. Obviously, it's still totally fine with where DARKWINGS got egg, but getting the egg that early can be quite beneficial if they want to get a DARKWINGS kill later. And to your point, Saint and Quid, the only 2 players currently to have a player of the week. Like Quid has won 2, Saint has won that 1, and Saint has taken all that momentum he had from MSI, translated it straight here to the LCS stage.
So Impact did not actually hold his W, so there's the flash in from Dhokla looking for the solo, and I think he's gonna get it. Does not hold the skill point, doesn't have it for the remount. Wanted to use it for trading earlier on, and Dhokla in the counter matchup makes it look easy. He had already forced his flash, which must have happened off screen, but that was super simple there for Dhokla, and Impact is in a disaster spot already. You took the counter pick, you were down 14 CS and got solo killed by 4 minutes.
It's crazy. So he burned the flash at level 1 to Dhokla when Dhokla burned Ghost, skills his violent tendencies while under the turret without Dhokla even being there. So wanted to just push out the wave, but flash ignite, completely solo killed. Dhokla's dominance continues, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, that is a disaster for Impact. In a lot of games like this, if you have that bad of a start on Kled, you are just useless for the rest of the game. You can't win your 1v1, then it becomes very, very difficult because you have basically no wave clear until you complete Titanic or something along those lines. So even pushing out is hard, and it becomes tough, right? You're kind of relegated to just roaming around the map and looking for ults, looking for ways to kind of find picks. So we will see. I definitely was a bit of a doubter when he locked it in. It just didn't feel like an Impact-style champ. And we'll see if he can try to turn it around because he's in a horrible start.
He is, but he's up against Big Dokes, who, by the way, has been doing this to everybody, Ezreal.
Yeah.
This is Dhokla stats, the guy who we're criticizing for laning phase in spring. Better laning than Thanatos so far. Gold difference at 14, CS difference at 14, and XP difference at 14. He's been absolutely smashing and has continued to do it here.
Like, as your average CSD, for 6 games, you're averaging up almost 20
it's absurd.
CS.
He's playing so well right now.
And, I mean, he's always been an amazing team fighter, so, you know, when you start having that kind of a laning phase as well, that is just terrifying. And Dhokla, I agree, you know, I hadn't seen all those stats, but I've been looking at Dhokla as the best top laner for sure right now, and Impact is going to keep taking the bad end of these trades. Dhokla just going to be looking to push him back, and the scary thing here for Impact is Dhokla will just slowly whittle you down, get you dismounted, and then he will be looking for an all-in while you are dismounted and just try to take you out before you can actually get that remount. Yeah,
sitting on 3 biscuits and a refillable potion as well for Dhokla. Like, he's got sustain for days as well in his ability to win the war of attrition in this lane, has the experience advantage on him as well, hitting level 7 first. So he's in a good spot. It's all about whether or not the rest of LYON can hold that advantage and then let him run over team fights late game.
Yeah, it is going to be pretty difficult for them to deal with this Olaf. Any Olaf from ahead is really tough to deal with. Obviously, very reliant on CC here, you know, with champions like Leona, and even, you know, knockup from Xin and so on and so forth. But the Anivia can be quite good, especially if you do fight in corridors, because you can just wall off an Olaf, and then if he doesn't have flash, the ult doesn't do anything. So there is that possibility to just try to kite it out and to try to delay and be able to win an extended fight. But at the same time, LYON do have a lot of power in their extended fight as well, with both Syndra and Cassio, you know, being pretty high DPS champs.
It absolutely is. I mean, just looking at the CSD, I know Wave's crashing, but he's already plus 18 at 7 minutes. If you can keep holding that, it's only going to get worse. But we'll say HamBak did manage to secure the first Drake of the game. The overall game state, if you close your eyes and don't look at top lane, still totally fine, with Rahel doing completely fine into the Cassiopeia early in the bottom lane.
Yeah, so there's the dismount. Isles is up on this side, but they aren't going to look for any sort of a dive. Just going to take the push in and reset here, and Impact will be a little bit delayed on his recall.
Yeah, and the egg just came back up for DARKWINGS, so getting egged early on doesn't end up costing him whatsoever. Still just a little bit down in farm, but he's in an okay spot on Anivia, as we could be seeing a big grub fight here.
Yeah, Armao going to take one grub and just flag and drag out over the wall. Likely to give up two. Scatter going to connect there on to huhi, but is pretty tanky and will be difficult to fight their way in past DARKWINGS. You can see both top laners are moving down, but Impact is still dismounted. This could be a dangerous fight for him. Armao looking. The second grub going to be taken as there's the taunt flash onto DARKWINGS. Flashes over the wall to get away from Armao. Saint going to be looking with the scatter here. HamBak trying to turn back around there with huhi. As on the side, the ult gets popped as it's Dhokla looking for Impact, chasing him down, dismounts him once again as the Cataclysm is there onto HamBak. Saint going to get knocked back over the wall by the blast cone. Saint flashes out with no HP, finally burns down. Armao is fighting. DARKWINGS is out of mana. And it is a kill on the top side there for Dhokla onto Impact.
Fight on two fronts. Dhokla gets the 1v1 up top with an extended turret dive, and Rahel's Ezreal ultimate almost turned that. Saint got put in a pretty goofy position, getting blast coned over by huhi's Leona, but let's watch it one more time. The Anivia really sectioning Saint down at the beginning of the fight, and then it's kind of about waiting for cooldowns, right? Saint used his QE early, but then once huhi flies over the wall, Armao and Ios decide to just all in on HamBak. Going to focus on the bottom fight here because Saint gets thrown back in. Looks like he flashed into the Ezreal ultimate over the wall, which eventually led to him falling. Otherwise, that could have been an even bigger win for LYON.
Yeah, that was pretty well played by huhi, just hitting that blast cone to knock Saint back into the pit, gets him low, and then he tries to flash out, gets tagged by that ulti as you're talking about, and now Dhokla does have his experimental hexblade. Great scatter there from Saint, and huhi is just gonna be gone. Has no flash and has no way out. Berserker picking up the kill. Great roam there from Saint. And this is your MasterCard power spike of the game. Dhokla with those two early kills. I think both of them were a solo as well. I'm not sure if anyone got an assist onto Impact. And he is gonna be so far ahead. Impact just can't take any of these fights.
That's really insane. I mean, it is, I think, at this point, an overpowered pick. But also, if you're going to play what is considered the counter to it, I think this is proving that you need to be really experienced on the Kled. And I think the more Olaf you play, since there are some players, even in North America, that are like basically Kled one tricks, I'm sure Dhokla's played against them, so he'll know exactly how the matchup is supposed to go. And as soon as Impact doesn't do that, Dhokla's been punishing him immediately.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And this is always the risk of some of these kind of counter picks, especially a champion like Kled. It is insanely high risk, high reward champion. You can just play a tank into Olaf and kind of just lose gracefully, right? You know, you're not going to have a fun time. You're not going to be able to take a lot of trades, but you can farm and you can be useful. And we'll see if he can find a way. As Saint here going to get caught, and he's going to get solar flared. The follow-up stun is there, and on the other side, the Petrifying Gaze was onto the Zhao, who falls as well. Saint stays alive. DARKWINGS is dead, and LYON crushed the fight and are just starting to run away with it.
Yeah, maybe they're fine without Inspired. You know, the more I watch this game, it feels like everyone is just smashing. Dhokla still in the top lane. What a crisp fight that was. Dhokla might end up falling here. He's got ult still.
Yeah, going to be stunned up. There's the Ignite. He's going to flash over the wall, but a great joust to follow from Impact. Dhokla tries to take the fight, cannot do it. Overextended, punished there by huhi.
Nice gank, and then getting the shutdown onto Impact will potentially save his game. Really needed that one, but it's off the back of what was a very big fight win and Drake take for LYON.
They will look me. Look.
Looks in.
We're killing in one shot. Keep going. It's good. Slowly.
You got
it. Yeah. Give me a kill.
Kled base.
You guys eat. Damn. Nice. Good one.
Good one. Good shot calling there by Armao at the end. But I'd say Isles played that fight great. The initial taunt, and then not panicking with the ultimate onto Saint. So getting kind of all his cooldowns off in the fight initially before providing the shield onto Saint really just allowed them to maximize that fight.
Zenithblade going to connect here onto Isles. Isles tries to taunt over the wall, gets pulled back by the bear trap on a rope. Knocked down there by HamBak. 2 times, Isles up towards that top side, and this time he is going to be punished. Armao going to look down on bot side for DARKWINGS.
No
the
flash,
wall
no
has
wall.
just been spent. Yeah, no wall, no flash, no egg, no nothing. And this is going to be a pretty easy kill here. You have to think they give it over, tried to give it over to Dhokla. I'm not even sure how Armao got it.
I think he smote him to death. I think that was a little dirty little smite there by Armao because it wasn't the red buff.
Smite steal. Add it to the column.
It's like I'm pretending I'm giving it to you, just like yoink, right at the very end.
The little fadeaway smite, steal it away.
Nice gank. I mean, timing on his EQ was perfect to interrupt the R. DARKWINGS, I think, spends his cooldowns a little bit prematurely just because Dhokla is so scary in this game. Doesn't even want to let him get close, but ends up costing him pretty dearly.
Yeah, it definitely did. And even though they did kill Dhokla, we didn't get to rewatch that. But Dhokla was playing between the two towers and wanted to obviously interrupt Impact, who was trying to ult back for the wave. So even though Impact got the shutdown, he lost the entire wave, including the cannon to his tower. So it didn't close the gold as much as you would have expected, right? Because he missed out on all those minions. So he does get the shutdown, but after this kill for Dhokla, after the plates for Dhokla, Dhokla is still up 1.2k, Saint up 1.3k. These solo laners very, very strong right now.
Yep. I mean, the carries. Armao wouldn't have as much gold with Dhokla if he didn't smite the kill away. And then Dhokla would probably be up there with Berserker and Saint, but you can see it right there.
Going to try to look for potentially for a dive, but I don't think this will work, so I don't know that they're actually going to go for it. But two members there from Sentinels trying to cover DARKWINGS, who has given up his cozy little spot in mid lane, and playing side lane's a lot more risky, so does need that backup. They get him some vision, but LYON already making a play on the other side of the map, looking to knock down this tower, which would be first turret of the game, and Impact not going to be able to do anything about it.
Can't get the interrupt on Armao's reset either, so tempo not disrupted. Saint in a position to carry this game as well with the Anivia, still playing so well. 10 CS per minute, not to mention the first turret of the game. Very, very strong.
Yeah, HamBak here on the invade. Armao will just flag and drag away, but Sentinels moving a lot of members up towards topside. Dhokla going to TP in behind them, and they're going to look to try to force the fight. Eyes here on to HamBak. He gets caught and just knocked down in a hurry. Nothing he can really do about that. Great TP from Dhokla, and now they're looking topside for DARKWINGS, who has no turret, going to try to TP out. Looks like he just might do it. Stays safe. As it looks like the unleashed power would have potentially killed him, but TP's out just in time.
Narrow escape, but just a beautiful play by Dhokla right there. He's not even in base for that TP. He's just pushing bot wave. So catches HamBak a little bit unawares. The ward that was placed previously by Isles just gives him a very easy kill. But it does let the bot lane go a little bit, so Dhokla sacrificed a bit for the team, but they're getting so much off of it otherwise.
Yeah, they're going to take the Herald, and Isles is down there to cover Dhokla. So even though they get a little bit of gold there for DARKWINGS, the gold extends even further up to almost 4,000. Now it crosses that 4,000 threshold here for LYON. We're looking fully in control of this game. We'll see if Sentinels can find some good plays, try to turn it around. Impact definitely going to have a very difficult time in this one, as he has completed his Titanic, so now he has some good wave clear, but Dhokla almost has the Stride Breaker and is pretty much that full item completion ahead very shortly.
And Dhokla in teamfights doesn't even necessarily need to worry about the Kled. He can win in side lanes against him, but he's just going to be running down Xin and Leona. Like, it's just very easy to have the melee champions that are right next to him and kind of mow them down. So Armao just focus Drakes, threaten Soul, and try and move to 7-0. That's maybe what we're tracking at this point with how well they're opening up this game. Let's see if Sentinels can turn something around with the way bounties are.
Dhokla getting CC'd up here. We'll see when he wants to actually pop the ult. There, he does pop it. And trying to run out here with the Ghost, but on the other side, it's a fight as Berserker can't connect the Petrifying Gaze onto Rahel. In comes the reinforcements from Impact. But the charge will find not much of anything. Both fights do end up disengaged, and no one goes down.
Interesting they didn't get the stun there onto Rahel. Maybe a little late on the Petrifying Gaze, because normally the taunt into Petrifying Gaze is the combo, but couldn't quite time it up correctly. Hadn't gotten much chance to talk about Berserker's Cassio. It was very good. The nerfs are quite small, to be completely honest, for the mages bot lane. So this is our first LCS team running back mages post MR buff for AD carries.
Yep, the MR buff, Berserker Street's buff, and the Fleet buff as well. So been a number of different little changes to try to push it. It was versus, it was versus FlyQuest. That's what I thought against that matchup against Masu, where he played it last and he was diving Masu and chasing after him and had a really good game. And it's been a really pleasant surprise to see how well Berserker's been playing on mages, because I always thought of him as he is the traditional AD carries AD carry, right? Like, this is the guy that is hyper carries. He, across all his careers, these games, which was like 3 or 4 prior to playing at MSI, he had 1 total kill, and all of them were losses. And then he played great on Ziggs. And then he came back here, and he's played great on Cassio. And he feels like he really has kind of turned over a new leaf and is playing incredibly well on these different champions. As DARKWINGS going to get put low here. The unleashed power from Saint doesn't quite finish him off, but there's the taunt over onto huhi, and he is going to be in a lot of trouble. Berserker goes in with petrifying gaze, trying to fight against HamBak, and HamBak going to be locked into the Cataclysm there by Armao. Flashes out, trying to make a run for it, won't be able to get away. Impact and DARKWINGS limping out to safety, but 2 more easy kills while Dhokla just farms plates topside.
Yeah, I mean, it was an insane numbers advantage right there. Impact was in base with no charge. Saint chunks the Anivia out, and then he's entering the fight. So anyone who's actually fighting in River is just going to get obliterated because there's too many people there. I mean, even while that was happening, Rahel's like picking up blue buff.
Dhokla just going to take this 1v2. We'll see how he does. Pushes Impact back. They have to run. They're trying to wait out the ulti, and now the charge comes back up as that ultimate expires. 3 members show up. Rahel gets the kill. Dhokla bites off more than he can chew.
Couple of times this game, Dhokla's pushing his advantage a little bit too hard, but fortunately for him, Saint is 3,000 gold ahead, well over 10 CS per minute. I believe also got a good chunk of the turret gold bot lane as well. We're going to watch this play one more time as Saint over on the side to start it is chunking him out. And huhi was actually looking for this play, which is not a good play once the cavalry arrives. Armao, Berserker, and Isles all easily able to join up. And then HamBak is just completely dead to rights here. Impact can't join this unless he too wants to die. And extra kills go over to Saint.
Yeah, it does really make me wonder if they had a read that Berserker was going to be mid lane matching Rahel. They didn't seem to have
base or something,
you know, a good understanding of where the LYON members would be. Otherwise, there's no way that huhi would be looking for that fight. You know, he clearly thought it was a lot more even numbered than it was. DARKWINGS does finally knock down a tower, and it is an objective bounty, but on the other side, Saint almost knocking down this tier 2, and he is just such a problem in this game. There's not really a lot of tanky members over on the Sentinel side, and this Syndra being this fed is going to be an issue.
Yep. Once you get into I can one-shot anyone on the team territory.
Deep TP, they are going to try to force this. This is a nice rocket belt. Avoids the wind as he comes lightning, but Saint is getting flanked right now by DARKWINGS. Might have to use the flash in the back of the pit. We'll see if he does. Solar Flare going to force the flash. Armao will flag and drag back out. Nice little attempt there from Sentinels, but now LYON might want to force a fight themselves. Dhokla, though, still not here, so they will be happy to just disengage, spend the flash, and buy more time for Dhokla.
I like the angle right there, but Saint appropriately patient with his flash. A nice Anivia wall, much like in his ear wall, just to put it up early, interrupt Shelly, so it ends up doing nothing. Wasn't a Battle Herald, was not a turret plate destroyer either.
Scatter comes in. Cataclysm going to be used there onto HamBak. Armao going to have to flag and drag out. huhi could look for him. The flash early there from Armao as the charge is coming in now from Impact, but will not be in range. HamBak is, though. Another flag and the drag. Nice buffer out. The flash, the bear trap on a rope, pulls him back. The locket, though, from Isles will keep Armao safe. And still, Dhokla is untouched, pushing bot lane. Sentinels try to force, get nothing, and they're going to lose the full tower plus the minions bot, and they lose the tower mid.
2 turrets for Armao's flash. So got that, but that's going to hurt their overall state of the game. Objective bounties actually had fallen off, but I feel like LYON continued to advance their map state pretty well right there. They are going to trade back at the top, but just a nice escape there overall by Armao, and nice patience by Isles to just know that they didn't really have the kill damage. Let's just pop the locket rather than using Stand United, still have Stand United for the team fight.
Absolutely does, and this Dragon not going to be contested whatsoever. You can see HamBak was up pushing top lane there with Impact. They knocked down the turret, but it means Soul Point here for LYON. Will be Hextech Soul on the table in just under 5 minutes now for LYON.
My goodness. I'm looking forward to LYON versus TL. Do they keep this up?
I am as well.
Can we convince Armao to go to Mexico?
Just in case, you know?
Just in case. If they lose the first game with Inspired, maybe just pop them back in there.
Exactly.
Keep the undefeated streak alive.
And if they win, eat some delicious Mexican food.
Absolutely. What's to lose?
You know where else you can eat some delicious food? It is Atlanta, Georgia, at the Gas South Arena on October 3rd and 4th. Tickets are on sale now. You know what? I'm just going to say it. LYON's going to be there. You're going to see him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Making the call.
I'm making the call. It's not very bold, but it is a take.
It's top 3 is required.
It's a room temperature take.
Room temperature take.
Yeah.
I'll allow
Might
it.
even be a cold take, but it is a take, and they're going to be there, I think. Isles getting put low. True Shot Barrage going to be answered by the Locket there, as Isles will stay safe. They use the Miasma to just disengage, and again, Dhokla just playing the side lane, while Impact is the one grouping and trying to find angles.
Yeah, Dhokla still getting richer and richer, has his role quest completed, so has 3 full summoner spells ready if he ever wants to join. If DARKWINGS tries to force Baron, both teams have decent Nash damage, one because of the Anivia, the other because of Cassiopeia. So for the most part, I think LYON is just going to continue splitting the map like this, since they have the Shen as well as the stronger side lane, and then kind of wait for the soul.
Syndra now, level 15, just completed the death cap, and has 8 stacks on the Darksteel. So Saint is ridiculously strong right now. Dhokla going to be working in towards his 3rd item, as Armao just goes straight in onto HamBak. Going to get hit by the Cataclysm once again. Taunt there to follow it up from Isles, but a great wall actually keeps Berserker out of the fight, and the Isles goes down. Berserker, though, fighting against Impact on the side. Dhokla here joining up with him. He's going to have to use the charge to retreat, but he gets dismounted, knocked off his horse, and now a great wall. Good sidestep from all of Sentinels. Avoid the Petrifying Gates. True Shot Barrage comes in, tags 1. Sentinels don't look like they can find more. Huhi's trying to go in. Did he go too far? Has to flash back out from the Flag and Dragon. Saint is going to take him out with the Unleashed Power. Dhokla in some trouble, forced to flash out. Great scatter on a DARKWINGS. He is egged up. Rahel, HamBak, Impact trying to help him, but they can do nothing. Impact without his Lizard, not that threatening.
Really cool fight right there. It did look like Sentinels was pulling off something cool with DARKWINGS and Anivia having a couple really well-placed walls, but then Saint Syndra showed up. And he's a little bit too fed to deal with, getting the easy kill onto huhi, and then helping egg DARKWINGS so that they could get the kill onto him.
Yeah, and it's just tough. I mean, in these situations, Sentinels know they're super behind, so they want to get more. The initial play was great, though. You know, just the wall keeping Berserker away. Especially
because of where Saint started this fight. You can see on the minimap, he's just crossing Baron right now, so Isles gets ganged up on at the very start of the fight. But then the extension here, like, really nice movement from DARKWINGS to run over, make sure they can't secure this kill, and even put the pressure right onto Berserker. Gets his flash as well when he needs to escape over the wall. But then they're like, oh, wait a second, this is a level 15 Syndra. Huhi, I think, with the mistake on that E right there. Gonna wish he had that one back. Burns his flash as well as die.
Yeah, and going back in, you understand it. They know they're behind. They're looking for more, and wanted to try to get more than just that one kill. You know, they're saying, hey, maybe we killed the support off early. We got Douglas all down early. We just got the flash and the cleanse off Berserker. Maybe we can just ace him. Maybe we can go for more. But at the end of the day, you just end up losing your summoner, give over a kill. Huhi has rushed the Kanan Crooker, and pretty atypical, but it is both Cassio as well as the Syndra who are the real threat to him. They're going to be the ones hitting him, so makes sense in that regard. But it's going to be 1 minute until Soul's on the table here for LYON, and Sentinels have got to make their stand there.
Yeah, completely support the Kanan Crooker and for Huhi. Too bad there's not more players on their team that can stack a lot of magic resist, just because Impact and HamBak do have to fight the Olaf Jarvan over and over again. So that's why the balance of these double APs with mid-bot doesn't get punished with MR stacking as much, as long as you're getting enough physical damage from your mid-top, which I feel like LYON has here to make builds difficult.
And I think it's one of the struggles just of itemization in general. Like, people like Death Dance way more than they like Ma. You know, Ma is just not that strong in general. So, you know, even the Xin is probably still going to go towards GA. And Ma is hard to fit in, even against double AP comps. Sentinels, though, working away on the Baron very slowly, as Rahel tries to get some poke down as the LYON members do enter. Slowly but surely, Baron is getting lower, but this feels like a very risky proposition, as now LYON taking some space in the area. Impact is on a flank angle.
Yeah, the Impact flank might be the look here if they're trying to go.
Oh, Berserker whiff there on the Petrifying Gaze, but still chasing after Impact. Rocket Belts forward, and there's the taunt flash, and DARKWINGS is just gone. Impact now getting chased down. Another Q does connect. It's going to be a double kill there for Armao, as huhi falls as well. Impact going back to base, has the ulti to rejoin, but Armao looking for more on the side here. HamBak and Rahel trying to push them back. The scatter does whiff. HamBak goes back in, pops the Crescent Guard, knocks Armao back towards the tower, and he gets shut down by Rahel. Beautiful plays there from HamBak as he knocks the enemy jungler right into the turret, and is enough damage to get the kill.
Yeah, wait a second. Now there's no smite. Maybe the miracle is... Probably not, but you never know. Maybe they'll stop the soul. They can't stop the soul.
It's going to be tough.
No one's trying.
Maybe you go for a miracle Ezreal ult or something like that, but Ezreal popping the ulti. Let's see. Is it on time? Gets low, but not low enough. They will claim the soul. It's going to be a Baron rush on the other side, but LYON are aware of it. Saint TPing in. Level 16 now with the Hextech soul. This guy is going to be a terror. Huhi looking on the side to see if he could find an angle for an engage.
Probably get the Baron.
Does get some vision here for the team. They will secure the Baron. The question is, can you get out? Dhokla's coming behind you on one side. Saint is on the other. And LYON are about to get the bad news. There's the stand united. Dhokla in the middle of the entire team. They're trying to burst him down. They can't finish him off till just now. But Rahel has got a lot of work to do. Flash over the wall there from Saint. He gets stunned up. He may just get burst down. It's a 1K shutdown. Saint tries to become the hero, and he ends up the 0 as it's a 1K shutdown given over to Rahel. Flashed in for the scatter, was instantly stunned by huhi and could not get the kill.
It's an old reference, but huhi didn't hear no bell in this game. They gave away the Hex Soul, and they just keep making plays to see if they can make the comeback. They get huge bounties out of the Saint and Dhokla kills, and it just felt like because of the choke points they were fighting in, they were really able to abuse the Anivia here. So first off, smart to just go Baron. They have high Baron damage with the Ezreal and the Anivia, and there's no smite on the other side. Then it's all about just getting to a spot where the Anivia can fight well. So even if you're gonna get flanked, make sure you can isolate these fights. Berserker can't get in to the fight right now. So Dhokla does kind of just go too early, and nobody else can join him for a very long time. The stopwatch on top of the Anivia ult was great for DARKWINGS, and then yet another wall. Berserker can't follow through, so when Saint flashes, he gets an egg and gives away his own bounty. And finally, Armao arrives to see the corpses of his teammates.
Yeah, I wonder if he thought he was going to be able to kill Rahel there, but very risky flash in. And as you said, you know, Dhokla goes in. It was kind of go then or lose the moment to go. Maybe the better choice was just give up that Baron, but clearly they had made the call that they could punish, that they could look for that fight. But Anivia so successful in these moments, you know, zoning people out. Berserker was really far, as you say, and LYON do lose out on this fight, but still in a very good position in this game, up 2,000 gold, do have the soul. But Rahel is nearly 3,000 gold up on his counterpart in Berserker now, so Rahel is really getting paid.
Yeah, that was a lot of gold from that last fight. So he was about 1,400 gold up before those bounties, now 3,000 gold up. So they are against Hex Soul. It's still going to be very difficult, but a full item Ezreal can do a lot of damage, no matter what.
Absolutely can. I mean, there's, you know, it is a strong Olaf, it is a strong Syndra, but as we have seen, if you can actually manipulate the terrain, keep them out, they can't connect at the same time, you can kite back and just burst down this Olaf. DARKWINGS did lose both his egg and his stasis, though, in that last fight, and he doesn't have Zhonya's gold yet, so we'll see if he can farm towards that Zhonya's gold. It is going to be very important.
Yeah, you can see gold and damage right there. Because the bounties were held the richest in the game, Saint still the most damage in the game. But it's a game right now, and that was a big throw by LYON trying to go in after that Baron. Giving up the Baron is one thing, not that big a deal. Just the, I believe the Baron objective bounty had fallen. I'm not 100% sure, but there were definitely champion bounties available for Sentinels, and the game is much closer than before. LYON even got soul, really.
Yeah, you can see impact there. Still very scared about his position in the game as Berserker procs the Rylai's with his rocket belt, and that is enough for Impact to say, nope, never mind, I'm leaving. I apologize.
I mean, I wasn't going to bring this up because it was going to make me look really bad at the start of the series when I said maybe Sentinels wins because of time without Inspired. Just saying, would an Inspired LYON make that play? Probably not.
I mean, they've now spent 31 more minutes of gameplay without Inspired, you know? So
that's true. The start of the game, and then they forgot
what
Inspired would have done in that situation.
Every minute that passes,
he would have told them to play
from
slow.
Inspired. Yeah. Exactly.
Take it slow.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, they don't have Inspired to rein them in. All the craziness on the team that they like to go for. But LYON, of course, doing amazing without him. And, you know, a number of these players, you know, were shot callers on their teams without him. So having talked to LYON, Saint and Berserker were shot calling for their teams in the past, so they're very comfortable kind of stepping into that role and taking on more responsibility. And it'll be interesting to see, you know, what lessons they have learned playing without him, and if they want to, you know, maintain some of those things and change some of the shot calling responsibilities a little bit as a result.
With this game being close, I need to, you know, maybe this is Armao's last series with LYON. I need to remind people what is at stake. We talked about it at the start of the game, but there's only been a few junglers that have started 8-0 in games. So remember, Armao was 6-0 in games. We need to 2-0 to join Inspired, Blabber, Rainover, and TFT player Saint Vicious as 8-0 junglers. However, none of these junglers have gone 8-0 and then ended the split with a 100% win rate. So you can't lose a single time to keep that 100% win rate. Armao has to rein the team in, tell them that history is on the line right here.
Exactly. That's what he's here for. He's here for the records. He's here for the
needs
glory.
The records.
And then he's here to leave and go back to school.
Yes, complete my degree.
Very clearly. Respect, stay in school, just like Armao. And you too could go 8-0 in the LCS. As LYON now setting up here, 25 seconds until the Elder does spawn. And that, as we know, is the great equalizer. It is still a gold lead for LYON. It is the soul in their favor. We'll see if they can close this game out. Sentinels have made it so much closer. Rahel now has the fully completed Maw. It's going to be much more difficult to take down, but it is a very dark river. Sentinels really have not been able to get much vision.
Definitely not. We'll see. I'm a little interested that he went Maw instead of Endless Hunger. I understand, like, you get in range of Syndra if he presses one button on you, so you need the Maw, but okay, he still has a lot of damage. I think it's fine.
Yeah,
I think
he does do a lot of damage. And when it procs, you get that lifeline, so you have a little bit of a spell vamp there. HamBak, though, taking so much damage, getting slowed down from both sides. As that Hex Soul proc was putting him low. Armao has been chunked out. Dhokla losing about half his HP as well. Rahel going to send him packing. He's got a flash, he's got a ghost, he's got an ult, and he's got to get the Stand United. And it is still not enough as he burns down to the Ignite. And just like that, Sentinels may have earned themselves the Elder. Impact gonna get chunked though. Flash in there on a Berserker. Berserker in trouble, does cleanse out. Kiting back here. And on the other side, Armao has to flash over the wall. Berserker flashes in, he's looking for Rahel. The Cataclysm is gonna get shifted away from Rahel. Pops the barrier. Into the GA goes Armao. Berserker is on a blinking health bar as HamBak goes in, but Berserker is staying around to fight. Saint with the scatter under Rahel. Saint is incredibly low, but is still surviving. There's the teleport from Impact. Has the ulti flash for it. Bear trap on a rope gonna miss, but the ulti does not miss. Impact gets his revenge for the early game. Berserker kiting, Berserker fighting. I don't know if it's going to be enough though, because in comes DARKWINGS. It is the ace for Sentinels. It is the Elder going to be going the way of Sentinels. This game has just flipped on its head.
And Rahel has completely turned on. The damage he got down onto Dhokla, Ignite and Death's Dance just burned him to death. Now they'll have the Elder with Baron up. Watching this one more time though, it's just to pick onto Dhokla. The Hextech Soul does not make you any tankier. So even through the Shen ult, all the stored up Death's Dance damage plus Ignite gets him, and then the rest of the fight is a 4v5. It's just very difficult for LYON to approach. And honestly, the Maw is pretty clutch right here at the end when Rahel does get the gameplay button pressed on him later by Saint, lives through it. He dodges the damage so well from Armao early. Rahel just maximizing his damage. I gotta say, at the back end of that fight, if they were just a little cleaner, maybe they could have ended through top lane. There was a big minion wave, but they had to chase the kills. They had to get the Elder. Now they get the Baron, and it's anyone's game at this point.
Absolutely is. And Sentinels, we talked about the history for Armao, but Armao has not lost an LCS game in 736 days, so Sentinels on a path to history themselves, chasing the glory of taking down the unkillable Demon King himself, Armao.
These are quite impressive statistics. I feel like it's been even longer since you and I have lost an LCS game, but we're moving on.
I'm actually undefeated in the LCS.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
amazing job.
Stuff. Thank you.
Okay, so the power of the soul, almost mitigated by the gold lead, and just the fact that Rahel is nearing 7 items. He's gone Seekers as well, so a little bit defensive on the Ezreal, just so he doesn't get one shot. Still has his Maw proc, still has the ability to go into stasis, as, I mean, one more Q might have killed Armao with the Elder buff.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. LYON just trying to hold on now, trying to clear out these waves as best as they possibly can. And Rahel, of course, that stasis is so valuable against Syndra ult, right? Because you can fully immune that once that comes out, and that's what he's going to be looking to do. Rahel pushing forward. They do not want to allow LYON the luxury of just delaying this out. It is going to be still another wave or two on this Elder buff, and then that will be expiring. Sentinels backing off and looking like they're not going to go for any sort of an end just now. Are just accepting that they've dealt some damage. They put themselves into a pretty good spot. and they will go forward in the game.
I mean, absorbing the Elder Baron double buff and only losing one inhibitor would be a very big accomplishment, which is kind of where it's going. Maybe they'll get bottom tier 2 with their next push. Let's do a check-in, though, because remember previously when Saint was at 30,000 damage and Rahel was at 21,000 damage? Let's see what he did in that last fight, because that's about 17,000 damage since our last check-in for Rahel. Rather impressive that Saint's at 41K, to be honest, as well. He's been smurfing in this game, but the real story here is in the gold. Rahel, 20,000 gold this game. A lot of it is bounty gold. You have to be so careful with your leads in 2026 because of the bounty system, and it's successfully
Rahel's going to get caught, though. Does pop the stasis, was hit by a scatter over the wall. Saint going to get pushed back by the ult from huhi, and now Armao pays the iron price. In comes impact on the ulti, and Sentinel's going to keep pushing here. They still have 50 seconds on the Baron, and that is a 5v4. Another scatter does land from Saint. Trying to stabilize here, but that is a big pick and a big survival there from Rahel.
That's why you invest in the Seeker's Arm Guard, just in case, because he got hit by the scatter. And there's no Mikhail's on his team, there's no cleanse, needed to be able to live through that. Still, the Hextech Soul's never going away, so it's very dangerous anytime they try and approach. They got to be afraid of Hexgate flanks as well, but staying grouped, moving into the jungle so they can play around these Anivia walls as best as possible.
Absolutely, and it is about a 6,000 gold lead for Sentinels, but that is, pretty much evened out by the Soul. It is going to be pretty even. We can see a lot of MRs now being purchased up, right? So HamBak did go for the Death Stance as kind of expected, but now he gets a Maw after that. We can see Darkwings is going towards a Banshee's Veil. We can see Impact is working towards a Maw of his own. We already touched on the Maw from Rahel. There's the Kainic Rookern. There's all of these tools. And yes, there is double Void Staff, but still, that is a lot of MR. It is going to be very efficient. And Dhokla, who had a pretty massive lead and it felt like the game was going to be about him, has not been about him. And at this point in the game, there's more than enough damage. Just focus him down. Berserker, though, finds a petrifying gaze onto HamBak. Is going to try to chase him with the Rylai's on the other side. huhi getting low. HamBak tries to re-engage. Isles comes in with a Stand United. There's the flash out. And in comes Dhokla. It's the Zhonya's getting popped, but it's huhi killed over the wall. It's Saint going to be knocking one down. HamBak incredibly low.
Watch Rahel, though.
Berserker. Impact tries to ult out. Does get stopped. Armao popping back up with a GA, but he is just knocked out of the air there by DARKWINGS. At the end of the day, it is a 2-for-2. It looked like it might have been a Lion stop, but Sentinels use the stasis, use the summoner, survive, and keep it even.
And it's just the poor support jungles that die at the end of the day. Rahel untouched by that initial engage. I think that's really going to be what will decide this game, is whether or not they can get their fingers on Rahel somehow. If it's actually Rahel who can get hit by maybe an Isles taunt, now with no flash, which is going to make it nearly impossible, because that was a really good look for LYON, and it ended up being a tie.
Yeah, ended up being a tie there. It did look like a really good engagement. They got some important summoners, of course. They got the flash off HamBak, of Impact, of DARKWINGS, off huhi. But they spent some big summoners themselves. 3 of their own flashes are down. Saint and Berserker do hold on to their flashes, and it is worth pointing out, Rahel did not go for the upgraded Zhonya's, instead swaps to a GA. So he is going to be on the GA now. And we can see DARKWINGS going in for the Mandate, so kind of interesting. Getting a little bit of tech there as that just a late game support item. Obviously does have the percentage damage amp when you do land CC, which can be very valuable in these late game scenarios where Rahel is just doing so much damage.
Yeah, it's the way you can support Rahel to just do even more damage, give him that little bit of extra damage amp. Nice wall there by DARKWINGS. There's no summoner spells on Dhokla. They want to be careful not to overcommit, though.
Yeah, and the Elder's going to spawn, and Dhokla has no TP, so he's going to have to go back to base now. DARKWINGS being so annoying. The Axe does connect, but it just pops that verdant barrier here. And Dhokla feels like he can't go back to base. He's got to stay around, but he is going to be starting this fight at about 30% HP. And again, DARKWINGS finds him, just whittling him down. He's got to pop the ulti and go, but I don't think he wins this 1v1. In comes the Stand United. They're trying to keep him alive. The egg gets popped, and he's still alive. Rahel is kiting. Rahel is fighting. He's trying to knock down Dhokla. And on the side, Armao is dying to HamBak. Impact coming in, looking for the reinforcements. Dhokla again survives as another Death Stance proc comes through. I cannot believe that he is still alive, but their base is in shambles. The supers are working on the Nexus, and at the end of the day, it's again another 2-for-2. Dhokla, against all odds, stays standing, but LYON have got to go back and defend their base, and Sentinels get another Elder.
That was insane. For all the attention that was spent on Dhokla, huhi headshot Saint with the solar flare, and then Kled was able to run him down. That was the real carry for LYON, which is probably why Sentinels was still able to win the extended fight. When Saint wasn't there to do the damage, and Dhokla was doing damage, but kind of running around, barely trying to stay alive, didn't even proc his Guardian Angel. The second Elder of the game goes over to Sentinels, and now yet another Baron will be going over to Sentinels. What a wild game.
I mean, this is crazy. That was incredibly close. I thought that fight was going to start and Dhokla was just going to die through the Stand United and it was going to look horrible, but the fact that he survives, he keeps getting the resets with the death dance, you know, cleansing all of that delayed damage.
Yep.
He's able to egg Darkwings, take him out. That made it so much closer, and had they not gotten that kill on the Saint, I think that LYON would have taken that fight. So pretty critical pick there from huhi.
Yeah, beautiful ultimate now. Still deathless on the Ezreal is Rahel, with Baron and Elder, and an inhibitor on both the top and bottom lanes, but no supers, crucially, yet. Let's see if they can do something on this push with all the buffs in the world.
Yeah, Armao lost 30% of his HP to one Ezreal Q with that true damage burn, and they're going in on a Dhokla. Dhokla's just going to try to turn and fight, pops the Ragnarok, but he doesn't have the damage at this point. It feels like he gets walled off, and the Elder execute is going to be coming. Does get knocked down into the GA, and HamBak goes in for Isles. Isles pops the heal. Armao trying to re-engage with the Cataclysm, but Berserker and Saint can do nothing. A great scatter over on a huhi. He is low. HamBak is low, but he does not fall. They retreat into the fountain. Impact trying to get in there and finish him off, but he falls. The Stand United keeps him alive, but the Nexus is being targeted, and I think it's going to go down. Rahel and DARKWINGS take down the Nexus, break the undefeated streak from LYON, and win game one.
Armao's 100% LCS win rate is no more, but more importantly, Sentinels take the win. Lounge, are you not entertained?
Oh, that was an entertaining game.
I'm always entertained. But
That was a great
you guys
one.
do